Right, welcome back, everybody. So the National Consumer Commission, or NCC, has launched an investigation into allegations of price gouging of garlic and ginger from the national lockdown in 2020. This following a national outcry from consumers about excessive prices of both products at major retail stores. These allegations, if proven true, would constitute a violation of Regulation 350 in a government notice which lists 22 essential products. It could also lead to suppliers being fined up to R1 million or up to 10% of the annual turnover, or even imprisonment. Thezi Mabuza, the Acting Commissioner of the National Consumer Commission, joins us to talk about this. Thezi, welcome. Good to have you.
Good morning, Leanne, and good morning to the listeners.
Right, so let's begin with the initial prices of garlic and ginger, which are considered by many to boost the immune system and fight flu and colds, and advocated by a lot of health experts. What did they cost about a year before lockdown, and what are we looking at the cost right now?
Initially, when we started in March, we were looking at the cost at around 89 to 100 rand a kilogram. At this point, we are looking at around 250 rand, and in some instances, around 300 rand a kilogram for garlic.
Wow. Now,
for ginger, especially for ginger, that's it.
I can add to that. We've just got a message. I actually put a message on social media to ask viewers if they have experienced this and where. One that's just come in here from Costas Christodoulou saying, save this. This is in Pietermaritzburg. He showed me a photograph of a kilo of ginger priced at 399 rand a kilo. Not sure what the store is, but I mean, this is an absolute disgrace. What are your investigations showing so far?
In this instance, the information that we have asked for, Leanne, it spans from March last year to date, because the regulation expects us to look at the profit margin in relation to the cost of sourcing and the profit. So for now, from the retailers, we haven't really received much of the information, because they were saying to us that it's massive information, because we really want to go into the depth of all this. So what we have for now is just preliminary investigation. When we had the information wherein we saw the prices in March last year to now, wherein the prices have been escalating. So we don't have anything tentative in relation to their cost as retailers, because they ask for information and then their profit margin. So we don't really have much. It's an investigation that may span for a longer period because of the volume of the information that we're expecting to get from these big retailers, especially.
Yeah, we do know that there are 7 retailers that have been basically fingered for this. I mean, do you want to talk us through those?
Yes, we have for now that we have issued investigation to, it's your bigger retailers, especially your Food Lovers, your Spar Group, your Woolworths, your Checkers, your Pick n Pay, your Cambridge. So those are the big retailers that we have. They have really received those certificates, but because we have not received formal investigation from consumers as individuals, our act empowers us as a commission to scan the environment on our own volition, go out there and institute an investigation. And this is what we said to the retailers, that this is our own initiative, based on the trends that we are seeing on the market and what we are seeing out there on social media of consumers' plight. So that is what we have right now. So it would really take a time, but we will get there.
The worry is that perhaps they'll start repricing things, and that could be something that is a worry. I imagine already that we all raising alarm bells and speaking about it. There's the reality that those prices may be adjusted very quickly to try and avoid any form of investigation. However, are you able to go back in restaurants in history and look at evidence that is already there showing that particular consumer was charging that but has now dramatically reduced the price?
Leanne, that is what the investigation is all about. That's why we're asking for the information spanning from March 2020 to date, so that we can see the receipts in terms of sourcing and then their selling price, so that even if they can reduce it today, we want that historic information as of the time when they were issued with an investigation certificate, because the Act is speaking of this period, wherein it's a period of national disaster that stems from March 2020 to date.
Fantastic. So we speak about this list, the companies, and I know you've referred to them, but let's just name them: Food Lovers Market, the Spar Group, Pick n Pay, ShopRite, Woolworths, Boxers Superstores and Cambridge Foods. Those are just some that have been mentioned. Is this possible that there may be more, your private fruit and veg suppliers, anybody that has been found to be a part of this? Are you also going to be asking the public to come forward and report these places?
Leanne, this opportunity that you are giving me to speak to your listeners, to your viewers today, and listeners at home through other radio stations, we're saying to them, if really you are experiencing this with your small shops next to you, wherein you are really being loyal to them in going there to buy your commodities, please give us a call or file a complaint with us. Just go to our website, either that of the National Consumer Commission or the Competition Commission. You would find complaint form there. Fill your complaint form. We would be able to follow each and every one of those retailers. So we are really intent on doing this. As consumers, we feel that we are really being taken for a ride. We need these concoctions. We need them dearly. And we do not expect South Africans that while we are supporting them as retailers, starting from the period of lockdown, while other retailers were actually closed down, they were selling. And we are saying to them, please listen to our plight. Work with us here. Just remain within your profit margin. That's all that we are asking as the National Consumer Commission. Remain within your profit margin. Don't take this as a process or maybe as an opportunity for you to really benefit while we are in need of these products.
And this is, and you rightly say, while we are in need of these products, because it has been emphasized, and what I'm seeing is that there's a possible increase as well in the price of lemons. I think that that's also perhaps a part of the investigation, because so many people are saying on social media, and I mean, it's a very powerful tool, especially when you're talking to issues that affect people's pockets and they're able to talk to you directly. I mean, they are saying that they've actually just stopped buying it, so they can't afford it, and they'll go to the likes of a Checkers, they'll go to the likes of a Pick n Pay, they'll see the prices and they walk away, and then they just don't have it. Now this is something that, you know, they should be very, very seriously penalized if they are in fact found to be price fixing on this one, because, you know, this is a health dependent product where people have been urged to go ahead and have this for health benefits more than anything else. You know, let's talk about punishment. I said in the introduction, I mean, something like this could actually see imprisonment and a hefty fine being imposed. So if your investigations do prove that there has been a lot of price increases, what can happen to retailers?
We are looking at two options. In this instance, it's depending on the size of the business. The Act is speaking of 1 million rand or 10% of your gross profit. This is actually one of the greater, it's not the minimum, it's the greater of 1 million or 10% of your annual turnover. That is what we're talking about. And in this case, we are really serious, and that's why we do not even want to enter harshly into agreements wherein people are conceding. We want that information, we want transparency, we want people to come clean, so that whatever negotiations that we go to that talks to a fine, it should be something that is consumerate, that is actually proportionate to what they have profited. And also the pride of us as South Africans to say that as retailers, as consumers, we support one another, because we need consumers to have confidence in the market, so that we should be able to make sure that we remain afloat as South Africans.
Yeah. The photographs that I'm getting, I'm going to retweet them and somehow pass them on to you, because I think this can form part of your investigation. I'm going to tell you another one I got here. This is from Lunga, writing in saying that the cost of ginger at my spa in Port Edward is 479 Rand a kilo. This person bought a small piece of ginger, and it was 102 Rand for ginger. I mean, these are prices that are just this. Again, somebody else saying yes, the same at Spar Lady brand. Another one coming through here and giving prices: garlic 250 Rand a kilo, ginger, loose ginger 400 Rand a kilo, lemons 25 Rand a kilo. You know, this is something that I imagine is a big thing, because if we look at retailers during the lockdown and during that time, they were allowed to trade, obviously with restrictions in place, but their profit margins have truly been something that needs to be looked at as well. Not that, you know, to take it away from them, they have been working, but, you know, when you're going about it in this kind of way, profit margins is something I suppose you're going to be investigating too.
Yes, we're looking at that, Leanne. That's why now for us this is really very serious, because I think those commodities that we need, besides just the price of lemon, people are also speaking about the price of honey in this instance. And we know that some of the retailers could be saying that, but it's because we are importing. Throughout these years, we've been importing these commodities. They've never actually, the price been hiked so high. That's why for now, this is a phenomenon that we think that it's something that we have to look into, probe into, and make sure that we do not actually leave any stone unturned, so that we can get into the bottom of this, and then we deal with this decisively as a commission.
Let's talk about other foods that you've noticed. I mean, we've touched on garlic, we've touched on ginger, we've spoken about briefly lemon. Now you say honey, and again another big complaint from people saying that a price of a shopping trolley has become completely unattainable for the majority of South Africans. The price of food has gone up so much. Let's talk to this. I mean, is there anything irregular we need to read into that, or is it just the way things are currently in this environment, that prices have increased, goods are more expensive, import duties are higher? I mean, perhaps you can help us look at that. Have the alarm bells been ringing in other food sectors or food prices as well?
We have looked at inflation, wherein we know that there is a factor in terms of export and in terms of demand. But then our policy as South Africans is never to interfere with the market in terms of the law of supply and demand. The regulations were there really to put a kind of like a cap onto the goods that we call them essential, so that we make sure that those goods that are essential, they remain within affordability standards, even if the rate of inflation goes up. That's why now when the regulation came into being, they were there to ensure that we look at the profit margin throughout, so that even if the cost of supplying those goods goes high, but your profit margin remains the same, so that we can all afford. So I think it's something that we would be looking into, that maybe when we have a discussion with the minister, when the public actually are crying out to say, look into this, it's something that maybe the South African policy will be able to look into that. But for now, our policy is let the market settle itself in terms of the law of supply and demand, because people now can move from shop to shop, and that balances itself, wherein people have the right to choose wherein they source their products. But in this case, wherein the commodities are within those essential brackets, then we've got the right to intervene in there in relation to the regulation itself.
Yeah, and that would be, you know, something that I don't think any of these big retailers would want to be found guilty of, and that being price fixing, because that comes with brand new challenges as well. But with so many of these retailers, major retailers, all pricing at ridiculously high levels, this, I imagine, is a major investigation. But I'm not sure if you answered this. You may have already. Forgive me for asking it twice if you have. But the response from these retailers, what has it been so far? Are they cooperating with you? Have they provided you with the relevant information of the price increases over this year that we've been talking about?
Yes, for now, they have asked for leniency in relation to time, because we had given them a week. And then they said that looking at the time span from March last year to date, they requested more time. We've given them more time. In this instance, we'd be looking at around a month or so for them to provide us with that information. But for some of the small retailers, yes, some of them, they've started providing that information. But as we get some of the complaints from your small suppliers, I think those will be quicker, because we would be able to just kind of like send that information and say, give us that information over that period. It will be easier. But they are cooperating, I would say. And some of them, I think they started to say, can we look at this approach? Can we look at this approach? We are really open to that, but all we are asking for is transparency. But they are cooperating.
Good. All right. The details to get hold of you to report this, what are they? How do the public get hold of you? Oh, it's on the screen there. I beg your pardon. There's your helpline, the complaint line.
Yes, we will give you the numbers in terms of our toll-free numbers, but our Pretoria-based number is 012-428-7000. We are also available on our website on www.thencc.gov.za, on our website, where people can be able to download our complaint. And I am sure as well that during the day, we will also send you our Twitter handle for people to be able to be inboxed, so that we can send them our complaint form as well, so that people can file complaint, especially for the small retailers, because we want all consumers in all provinces of South Africa to be able to file their complaint and speak to us, so that we can be able to service them better.
All right. Fantastic. Thank you so much for talking to us. Thezi Mabuza from the Consumer Commission, talking to us about an investigation into the prices of garlic and ginger since the national lockdown began in 2020. Ridiculous prices that we've been hearing. I mean, from starting off, Sakina, at like 80 Rand a kilo or something like that, to sitting at almost what I've been seeing, 450 Rand a kilo in some instances. This needs to be done, and very fast, in terms of investigation.